So I'll read to you a couple statements that I've gotten from team members when I've asked them. I said, okay, well, tell me a little bit about what are some traits of a boss that might have ADD that would kind of help us identify that. And so if you've heard any of these traits before, or if you've heard any of these statements before, this is a way for you to kind of think to yourself, okay, maybe I've got some of these tendencies. So if you've ever had your teams tell you this, we love your great ideas, but it's hard to keep up with your pace and energy. Okay, that might be a sign. Sometimes we notice you'll bring up an idea that we've already discussed in a prior meeting and thought we'd resolved. We aren't sure if this is because you've forgotten the conversation or if you think it needs to be brought back to the forefront. That could be a sign. I or we are unclear of your priorities. It seems like the target's constantly changing. That could be a sign. And then, of course, the last one has to do with your one-on-ones. It's hard to predict what you might want to review in our one-on-ones. When I think you're going to want to discuss high-level progress, you dive into the details. Or if I prepare all the details, you might go in a different direction. So if you've heard any of these, which I referenced earlier, then that might be a sign that, you might have some of these tendencies. So if you find yourself nodding your head with any of those, these are some things you can do to make your team that much more effective this year and do some subtle tweaks to manage your style. So first, with anything, take ownership of this. So acknowledge, I've got some of these tendencies. And if you really want to double down on that, tell your team. Be honest with your team. Say, hey, team, I've noticed that I've gotten this feedback from you all, and I notice I have these tendencies, and I really want to work on it this year, and I need your help. So I think that's one of the first steps is acknowledging it, noticing it, and actually sharing it with your team. A second thing that you can do that will help your team is, and this is going to be hard. It's going to sound easy, but it's going to be hard. I want you to identify the 3 to 5 priorities that are most important for you. And you can say this month or this quarter or this year, but I want you to identify those 3 to 5 priorities. Now, I know that's hard because I know there's a lot of things that are really of interest to you and a lot of things you want to get accomplished. And narrowing it down to 3 to 5 is tricky, but trust me, that's going to help your team so incredibly much to know what are the 3 to 5. The number one complaint I hear from teams that if they could wave a magic wand and change anything about their leader that has some of these traits and tendencies is that they just don't know what the target is. It's constantly moving. So we want to give them those clear priorities so they can make progress so they're ready for another idea.